Hello, family. As I like to always do sometimes, uh, I just want to have a little bit of a conversation. And in this particular conversation, I want to talk about the psychology of being talked about, the psychology of being talked about. Uh, One of the unique things about communication is there has to be a speaker, there has to be a listener, and then there has to be a message. Now, the unique thing about that is that anyone who speaks to you is bringing you information or some type of message that you as the listener or I as the listener to hear. Now, most of the time, what I have realized in life is that that information sometimes is, you know, good, and there are times when that information is negative. So, in my growth as a person and in my growth as an individual, I have had to work through understanding how I process a message or information, especially if it's about me and if it's negative. So I want to work with you today just to give a little bit of an understanding of uh, the work that I was able to put in to help me through uh, dealing with the mental uh, things that kind of bother you when you hear about negative information someone said or someone did or whatever the case may be uh, against you. So, the first thing I like to do, because I believe in definitions, is I want to talk about psychology. Psychology is the science of mind and behavior. So, what does that consist of? That consists of mind and behavior. When I wake up in the morning, and when you wake up in the morning, so we come into some level of cognition, we come into some level of understanding that we are awoke. And normally, it's about getting out of bed or getting up from wherever you are. And then normally it's going into the restroom um, to wash your face, use the facilities, brush your teeth, or things like that. So with that, in our mind, we have an understanding that when I wake up and I come into some level of cognition or understanding that I am awoke. One of the first things I want to do is get out of bed. One of the first things I want to do is go to the restroom and take care of business. That is the nature of psychology. So something that has been studied that shows that we create something in our thought process that mind creates a certain behavior. So my mind, when I wake up in the morning, creates the fact that I want to get out of bed and go straight to the restroom. And then, since psychology is the science of mind and behavior, I define science as the systematic study of the structure and behavior of physical and our natural world through observation and uh, experiment. Wow. Through observation and experimenting. My daughter taught me, Dad, don't get caught up in the mistakes you make. People are human. You make mistakes. So, the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Science is the study of something. So, when we learn to study the psychology or the understanding of us as human beings with a mind, with an emotion, and with a will, which we call the soul. God gave all of that to us. The Lord gave these elements to us. And so it's the work of the enemy to distort and destroy these elements that the Lord has given to us in the soul realm, so that we are not functioning as God would have us to be or to do or to become. So one thing about science, science is always about the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of gaining greater knowledge. And that's what I want to do in dealing with the psychology of being talked about. Whenever you and I begin to step out of our norm and we begin to do some wonderful things, like if you are 30 years old with 3 kids, 2, 4, and 6, and you say, I'm going to start going to work. I'm going back to school because I need to finish my college education, and I'm going to do my best to raise my children. Well, you may have individuals around you who are like, you got 3 young kids at the age of 30. You're not 20 no more. You're at the age of 30. You may want to rethink what you're going to try to attempt to do by going to work, which you haven't worked throughout most of your 20s. Going back to college because you started college before you had that first baby. But now, after you had them kids, you kind of gave college a break. And so you're trying to restructure. And then you're saying to yourself, I'm going to do my best to raise my children to the best of my ability while I try to attempt these things. Well, as you talk to family members, as you talk to friends, as you talk to loved ones, as you talk to, people that are around you, it's in people's nature to talk. It's in our nature. If an individual brings us information, either you're going to support them, which would be nice if we all did that, or you're going to talk negative about it. And this is one of the things that I want us all to understand, is that in the psychology of sharing information and then getting negative feedback, it will begin to tear down everything you believed you could do, because you can do it with the initial belief system that was established in you, wherever it came from. So you understood that you went to college, you had your first baby. Now, all of a sudden, you stopped going to school, you stopped working, and you had a couple of more babies. And so now, since the 2-year-old is about of age where you can, put them in pre-K and things like that, now you want to get back, even though you're a little older now, you want to get back to what you were focused on when you were younger. When people begin to say, how are you going to do this? How are you going to work? How are you going to go to school? And then how are you going to raise these kids? How are you going to pay for daycare? How are you going to pay for food? The way things are going right now is probably not a smart or intelligent move. It's just not. Listen to me. People talk. People like to talk. And what they like to talk about is what is impossible, not what's possible. You'll have a few friends that will share with you, man, you can do that. I encourage you, push yourself, do what you need to do. There'll be times that you'll get tired, you'll struggle, whatever the case may be. But listen, I'll be there to support you. I'll be there to give you a hand. But most of the feedback many of us get is the fact that you're too old for that. You're not ready to do that. It's something that you haven't done in a while. What makes you think, with a 6, 4, and a 2-year-old that you're able to do these things? Don't allow negative talk to become your self-talk, because that's what will occur. That negative talk will become your reality. It'll become real to you. There are a lot of things and obstacles in many of our way. Okay. So when God begins to direct you into doing something, and then people begin to try to talk you out of it, you have to change. You have to change that level of thinking before it affects your mental capacities. Now, this is what I want to uh, share with you, just a couple of steps, because I didn't want to make this too long. All right. So you have to cultivate a new self by observing unconscious and habitual thoughts. All right. Now, what happens is when we receive all that negative talk, then we begin to take it on. So we receive the negative talk. Yet, yes, I am too old. Yes, I am not able to work with 3 kids. Yes, I'm not able to go to school, especially if I'm gonna have to do night school after work and have someone, watch the kids for me, or maybe even take the kids to class with me, whatever the case may be. Yeah, maybe I'm just too old at this, and what happens is that becomes a regular thought for you. So that becomes a part of yourself. It becomes a part of you, because now you have taken all the negative talk and you've taken it on. You've taken it on and you said, yep, they are right. And what God was speaking in me was wrong. And what I'm sharing with you is that if God spoke it in you, he will give you everything you need to be successful. God will do it. Okay. He'll give you the strength. He'll give you the tenacity. He'll give you the enthusiasm. He'll give you the joy. He'll give you the hope. He'll give you the strength. He'll give you everything that you need to be successful, as long as you do not buy in to the negative self-talk. It's not what they say, it's what you say about yourself. And it's that negative self-talk that begins to manipulate what God put in you that you can accomplish, because you can accomplish it. There are so many things that I was told that I could not do, but I've accomplished it because God gave me the wherewithal to accomplish it. Amen. So you have to cultivate a new self by getting rid of all that negative self-talk, by observing your unconscious mind and your habitual thoughts, because it's those habitual thoughts that turn into memories that we continue to run through our minds over and over again. So we have to change old memories and create new thoughts. So this is what we have to do. You change the negative self-talk and you begin to imagine, go to the college. Look at the classroom. See yourself sitting in the classroom. And instead of thinking on the negative self-talk, imagine yourself sitting in that classroom. Every time that negative self-talk tries to come up, say, nope, I'm going to take this negative memory that I have of something someone said, and I'm going to create a positive memory by seeing myself sitting in a classroom, studying and preparing to get my degree. And then see yourself also working. See yourself working in whatever capacity of job that you want, or whatever the Lord's laid upon your heart. See yourself doing it. Don't allow the negative self talk, the negative self-talk to become your reality. You've got to change that by seeing yourself in a different light and seeing yourself doing things that you can do. So I want to share with you this. Thoughts are habitual. What is a habit? A habit is something done regularly or practiced, something that's hard to give up, a routine of behavior. So when you think on something consistently, so whenever somebody brings you something negative, then you just stop everything. That's how you handle when people bring you negativity. They say it's just impossible. You just can't do it. You just and then you just stop. You just stop. You just quit. Just quit. I'm done. I'm not even going to try to attempt to do it. Instead of allowing your mind to say, I am going to accomplish this. I am not going to allow what people say to me. And then understand this is that it normally doesn't come from the person that said it. It always comes from someone else. Just like our brother Job. Job, Job wasn't there when stuff started happening and people started stealing from him and things started occurring. Somebody escaped. If you read the book of Job, someone escaped to tell thee, escape to tell thee. I have escaped to tell thee. People escape to tell you negativity all the time, especially something about yourself. Someone is always going to have something negative to say about you. So now, you have to not allow that negative information and message to become your reality, because now it's negative self-talk. Got to get rid of it. Got to get rid of it. So a habit is memory driven. And so what occurs is that whenever you begin to think about what God has put in your heart to do with the job and the school and still taking care of the kids, that memory of having that conversation with the information that was brought to you, whether it was direct or indirect, it still continues to consume your mind. And so that's what you think about. And it becomes a conscientious part of your thought process. So whenever you think about school, you say, nope, I can't do it because they said I can't do it. Or you think about working, you say, nope, I can't do it because they said I can't do it. And now you create a habit of negative self-talk, just constantly negative, 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 negative. So when information is brought to you in a negative fashion, it creates a habit of thought and behaviors that you habitually use to as a defense mechanism, or as a mechanism to say, yep, that's who I am. That's who I am. Well, I'm here to share with you that this psychology of being talked about is just something that is what people do. And what we have to do is we have to overcome by prayer, by having a vision, by writing things down, by allowing God to use us to accomplish what needs to be accomplished so that we can fulfill every promise that has been given to us by God. In order to do that, you have to not allow what people say to adversely affect you. I'm going to have to do a part 2 to this, family. I'm sorry, because I didn't want this video to be this long. But stop the negative self-talk. Stop the negative self-talk. Stop the negative self-talk. Find you a book and read the positive things that God has promised you. I encourage you to listen to some encouraging words. Go on YouTube. You can find all kinds of stuff that will encourage you. Listen to some motivational speeches. Listen to some inspirational speeches. Listen to things that are going to encourage you. Work diligently to stop anything that has negatively been said to you, because people will bring you negative information. It's just a way of life. So when you understand the psychology of that, and you understand how that affects you, then you can begin to shut things down. I don't want to hear it. I appreciate you. I thank you, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Keep that to yourself. Keep those thoughts to yourself. I'm not going to allow that into my soul, into my spirit. I don't want that information. And just keep it to yourself, because I've got to do what I know I have the potential, the promises of God, and the necessary support, because you will have support in accomplishing what the Lord has ordained for you. Listen, I pray and hope that this will be a blessing to you, and that you will find your way. Don't allow the psychology of the way people talk about you to keep you from anything God has promised you.